welcome to this painting tutorial. In this video we're going to look at how to paint an Eldar Howling Banshee for Warhammer 40k. The main bone color of this miniature makes it a bit difficult to get a clean look, and for that it's very important to apply the color in layers and not just one thick coat. I use Liquitex drying retarder to thin the paints on this tutorial, and if you like this tutorial please like it, comment and subscribe to see more videos. I'm going to start by priming the model in grey with Rust-Oleum Automotive Grey Primer. You can use any primer that you like. If you want to use this primer, just use it very lightly because it's not made for miniatures. As the first step, I'm base coating the model with Sandri dust, and this is going to go over the whole armor of the model. Just be sure to thin it down a little bit with water, or in this case I'm using Liquitex drying retarder, and I'm using an Army Painter monster brush to apply the layer. Just make sure to give it a solid coat on all of the armor parts of the model. Next I'm going to use Khorne red, and with this color I'm going to paint the hair of the miniature. The same as the armor parts, just thin it down a little bit and apply it all over with a monster brush. Next I'm going to use Caliban green, and I'm going to do the same thing for the tabard. Caliban green doesn't cover too well for some reason, and it's gonna need at least 2 coats. Next I'm going to use Dryad Bark to paint the leather pouches on the miniature. You can use it also to paint the straps, but the straps I'm going to paint them on black, and it's the same as the other steps. Next I'm going to use Vallejo model color black, but you can use Abaddon black, and with this color I'm going to paint the weapons. The parts that are going to be silver and the straps. Here I'm using a size 2 brush. This is good for painting details. Sometimes you can spin it and drag it along your painting palette and make the tip, and this can work to paint all sorts of surfaces like you can see here. Next I'm going to use Baltasar gold, and with this color I'm going to paint all of the metal work around the model, which is the metals around the soul stones on the miniature. Also, I should have used the next step first, because there's some metal work on the blade that is beneath the gold, which is I'm going to use Leadbelcher for the blade now, and as you can see you could paint this first so that you don't have to retouch the gold on the lower part of the blade. Next I'm going to use Agrax Earthshade to shade in the whole miniature. I'm going to give the wash to all of the miniature because red takes well the brown, and green is too dark to really catch any other color than just a darker shade, and it's a good shade for bone color. If you would like a warmer tone on your Howling Banshees, I would recommend to use Seraphim Sepia on the bone color of the armor. Next, once that's dry, I'm going to use Ushabti bone, and I'm going to thin it with Liquitex drying retarder, and I'm using this to layer in the armor color again as the base color of the whole armor. But because we're using thin layers, you just have to paint one part of the armor and just leave it alone until it dries and give it a second coat afterwards. If you move the paint around while it's drying and the layer is already applied, you're going to break that layer and you will be able to see brush marks and paint crumbs. So just be careful, give it just one quick layer and move on to the next parts of the model, and you'll have a model looking like that. And you can keep on adding layers until you're happy with the way the model looks. On this model I applied 3 coats and 4 where I thought the model needed a little bit more opacity. For the layering steps, I'm still using a size 2 brush. Next I'm going to use Screaming Skull, and in this step I'm going to edge highlight the whole model. Wherever you can find obvious edges, you just have to edge highlight with this color. Also, the Liquitex drying retarder is going to help to keep the paint wet and easy to edge highlight. And where you don't see any obvious edges, you can just highlight the upper parts, like in the little stones around the model that are going to be bone. And for this edge highlights I'm using a detail brush. Next I'm using Pallid Witch Flesh, and it's the same thing as the previous color, just a finer highlight, and you can use it on the finer, more sharpest edges of the model to make them pop. Next, I'm going to use Loren Forest to give the first highlight to the tabard or skirt of the model. This is almost an edge highlight, but you can go a little bit to the borders and give a highlight to the raised parts of the cloth. And to give extreme highlight, I'm using Skarsnik green, and this is only going to go to the sharpest edges of this cloth, and also you can just use it as an extreme edge highlight. Next, we're going to finish up the hair with Wazdaka red. This is going to be sort of an overbrush. You can make it faster if you just dry brush the hair, but I find it's a better finish if you paint each individual hair strand of the model with your brush. So I'm just kinda overbrushing and I'm picking up those places, and also I painted the lens of the eye, as you can see. Next I'm using Wild Rider red, and here I'm just picking up the places that are more raised on the hair, that you can see that reflect a little bit more light. And on the eyes I sorta edge highlight the lower part of the lens. Next I use Necron Compound, and with this color I'm just going to dry brush the blade of the model. Next I'm going to use Eshin Grey, and this is going to be an edge highlight for the blacks. You can leave the black as it is. Usually for my tabletop models I don't edge highlight black, but it does look better, so if you have the time to take this step, I would recommend so. So it's the same as the other edge highlights. You can use the Liquitex Drying Retarder to help you out, have more time to work with the paint wet on the tip of your brush. And next I'm going to use Dawnstone as a second, more finer edge highlight on the whole black parts. Next, I'm going to use Gorthor Brown, and with this color I'm going to highlight the leather parts on the miniature. Then I'm going to use Gehena's gold, and with this I'm going to highlight the gold parts before I paint the gemstones of the model. I'm just going to give it a kind of an overbrush where I can see the light hits. Just give it a little highlight with this color. Next, macragge blue is going to be the base coat for all of the gemstones around the model. Just use a fine brush and try to pick them out. Try not to paint any of the other areas around the model. You have to be very careful because some of these stones are very small. And Caledor Sky is going to be the second color. And this color is going to cover around 20% of the lower part of each of the gemstones. And the third color is Lothern Blue, which is the very bright blue that's going to go on the very lower edge of each of the soulstones. To finish it up, I'm going to use white scar to give it a little reflection of light on the top of each of the gemstones, and also on the far end of the lenses of the eyes. And this is the end result. This model looks pretty cool. You just have to pay extra attention when layering the bone colors so that you can get a clean finish. But overall, I'm very happy with the way it turned out. Remember that when applying thin layers of any color, you have to apply the layer and let it alone until it dries completely, or else you will see brush marks and paint crumbs. So be very careful with that. Thank you very much for watching this tutorial. I hope this video was informative and helpful. Thanks to Christoph for donating the miniature, and if you have any questions or comments, you can leave them in the comment section below. Remember, you can follow me on Facebook, and if you like this video, like it, comment and subscribe to see more videos. Leave a comment to let me know what you would like to see next, and I hope to see you on the next video. Thank you very much for watching, and if you want, just stay a little longer to hear one announcement that I'm going to make. You stayed. Great. Thank you very much for watching my video, and if you would like to further support my channel, you can become my Patreon on Patreon. You can pledge as little as $1 a month, and you are helping me create more and better content. If you can't, that's fine, because you're helping my channel a lot just for watching and sharing, but you can read all of the details if you follow the link in the description below. I hope you can spare $1 to make this hobby of mine a job for which I can get paid. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you on the next video.